Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of DLB TV. In this week's episode, my bold predictions for Xbox at E3 2019.
How are you feeling about E3 this year?
This is going to be an interesting one. We're the platform holder that has a live stage show, and it's kind of just us this year. I feel the responsibility of that. I want to represent gaming. Right? I think it's an important time where the kind of larger community, news and other things are looking at the gaming industry at E3. I think it's a time where we kind of pop above a lot of the noise that's out there. So I think the whole team, we're taking the responsibility of being out there, representing gaming and wanting to do a good job of that.
So it's another year, another Xbox press conference. But here's the difference with this year's. We're at the tail end of current generation. You have Nintendo, who hasn't been doing E3 press conferences in years. PlayStation, for the first time, has dropped out of E3 and said they will not have a presence there. This literally is the biggest gaming conference in the world. There is no gaming conference bigger than E3. You have Microsoft all by themselves. No one else. It's literally them. They are the headline. They are the only one. They are the top dog. I really feel in my heart that this is not only going to be the biggest E3 of all time, but this is going to be Microsoft's biggest E3 ever. And here's why. Microsoft, for a long time, they've been buying third-party content, exclusive content. They're the ones who started that. They would pay third parties to make exclusive titles for them. For a long time, Microsoft has been doing things that were completely different in the gaming industry and have changed the gaming industry as we know it in regards to things like that, in regards to exclusive content, in regards to buying third parties to develop exclusive titles for them. But then Phil Spencer got involved. Phil Spencer became the head of Xbox. And ever since then, the company has been on an upward trajectory ever since. One of the main things that I feel that they've been doing that was extremely smart is they've been very gamer and consumer eccentric. And that's why I think that it's so important to have someone who loves gaming or is involved in gaming to run these gaming studios or Xbox and PlayStation themselves. Phil Spencer has been a core staple in the gaming industry for years. Anybody who's been following the insides of the gaming industry. One of the things that he's been doing that I feel is extremely smart is instead of buying exclusive content and buying third-party studios to make exclusive games for them, they've actually went out and started buying studios. And I feel that that's been one of the smartest things that they've done. Because now Microsoft went out and they bought over 7 brand new, well not brand new, but they went out and they bought over 7 gaming studios, developing teams. And I think that is extremely smart because we all know the main thing that helps PlayStation is their exclusive titles. That's the biggest thing that makes Sony the biggest pillar, the biggest console right now in the gaming industry. Even Nintendo. The reason Nintendo has held on for so long isn't because of third-party games, because of their in-house games, their exclusive developers, the exclusive titles, the classics, Mario, Zelda, and so many more that you can name, Metroid, the list goes on and on and on. And so it's like Microsoft finally gets that and they're understanding like that's what it's going to take them to the next level. Is having their own studios. Not only that, with the Xbox One X, again, they were extremely smart. They didn't cut corners. They gave you an extremely powerful box at a reasonable price. And the Xbox fan base went out there and they bought it. So this year's E3, not only are we going to get games, but I think we're going to see a lot on the hardware side. But let's get into my actual predictions for this year's E3. So starting off E3, I feel that what we're going to get from Microsoft is I feel we're going to see Battletoads. Battletoads is a game that is beloved by the Xbox fan base and was a really huge game. The next thing I think we're going to see from them, Borderlands is getting ready to drop their game this fall, or Gearbox, should I say, is getting ready to drop Borderlands 3 this fall. Much anticipated game, anybody who's in love with the Borderlands series. Microsoft is going to have the biggest stage this year at E3. So I definitely know that Gearbox wants to have their game on their stage, even though it's going to be a third-party game that you can get on PlayStation, Xbox, and even PC. The next thing I think we're going to see is my favorite title, favorite Xbox exclusive, Gears 5.
Kate.
No.
No. Kate, you can't see this.
I think we're gonna get details on Gears 5 as well as the release date as well. Next up is a franchise that we haven't seen on Xbox in a very long time. Fable. I think Fable's finally getting ready to make a comeback just in time for next gen. I think that's going to be one of the launch titles, and I think that's going to be one of the games they're going to talk about at their press conference as well. Last but not least, on the gaming front, Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell is one of my favorite games on Xbox. I love stealth shooters. I love stealth games, period. Just like this is their Metal Gear, essentially. It's not as hardcore. It's not much of a simulation of real life as Gears is, as Metal Gear is. But it has the simulation element with a little bit of arcadiness. And I love that balance that they have for that game. And I'm really looking forward to hear what they have to say about it. So that's my last prediction in regards to the gaming front. Now, like I said earlier, Microsoft has a total of 13 studios. Now, we haven't seen what's going on with all 13. They recently, as of late, they bought a total of 7 new studios. Obviously, we know they're working on something. So either we're going to get a preview, a sneak peek, or a hint at what's to come. So I definitely think we're going to see things of that nature as well from their new studios that have come aboard, and their studios of old as well that are working on things that we haven't seen and don't know about. Now, one of the main things that Microsoft has been talking about for a very long time is the cloud.
So this all sounds amazing in theory, but really I feel like I need to see this with my own eyes to kind of fully comprehend the gravitas of this situation.
I mean, even going all the way back to the launch of the Xbox One, they were talking about how the cloud would be able to assist with making, I can't get into the hardcore lingo of the actual totality of what the cloud was supposed to do, but it was supposed to help in regards to releasing processing power from the console itself. So Microsoft as a company and as in their gaming division has always talked about the cloud. We all know cloud gaming, the cloud period, is the future. Cloud storage, so on and so forth, cloud syncing. So Project Xcloud is something that they've been working on for quite some time, and I definitely feel that we're finally going to see and get, well, we've been seeing it, but we're finally going to get a lot of details in regards to what's coming to Xcloud, maybe possibly even a price point. Because with the Google Stadia right on their coattails, I think they really want to give a lot of information, give a forward trajectory of where they plan on going, how they plan on releasing games, how this is going to sync with your console, so on and so forth. So I think we're going to see Project Xcloud also at Microsoft's press conference. Now, here's where my Xbox E3 predictions become bold. One thing that we've seen from console gaming in the past, whether it was with the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, they've constantly followed the footsteps of PC gaming, whether it's multiple SKUs, swappable hard drives, and so on. So what I feel that we're going to get from Microsoft and what I feel they're going to talk about and show is the next generation of Xbox. Codename Anaconda. Xbox Anaconda. I feel we're going to see that, as well as the lower end console that they're calling Xbox Lockhart, the entry level console. So we're going back to the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation, where we had two, really multiple SKUs for me to choose from, but mainly launching with two. I remember the Xbox 360 launched with a 20 gigabyte hard drive, and then one without a hard drive. PlayStation launched with a 60 gigabyte hard drive, and then the lower end had a 20 gigabyte hard drive. I feel like that's where Microsoft is getting ready to take it again. Prediction of mine, I feel is going to release at $499. That's going to be the high-end version of the console. It's going to be spec'd out. Then they're going to show off and talk about their entry-level version of the console, which I feel will go from anywhere between $399 or $349, and that's going to be their lower end version, which is codenamed Lockhart. And here's where that Lockhart console becomes pretty interesting to me. I don't know if you guys remember in the past, a couple of years ago, Microsoft, Phil Spencer directly, was talking about modular consoles. And if you really think back to the Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 was somewhat of a modular console. If you got the base Xbox, if you got a hard drive, that's modular. You put the hard drive on there. They had the HD DVD Blu-ray, or the HD DVD drive that you could buy after the fact, plug it into the console. They had the Wi-Fi adapter that you could buy, stick it on after buying the console. So things like that, that's a modular console. That's a modular product. Any kind of things that you're buying and adding on to that makes a device modular. So I'm curious if this low-end Xbox is going to be somewhat of a modular system. Not that you can technically bring up to the same power as the high-end console, but somewhat close to the equivalent to aftermarket from buying different add-ons. I could be absolutely wrong, but again, I just remember that moment in time where Microsoft was talking about a modular console future. Now, we haven't heard anything about that in years, but who's to say that that's not what that low-end console is? So after announcing all of that, and I'm pretty sure it'll be flip-flop, I'm sure they'll announce the Lockhart first, because that's the entry-level, low-end version of their next-gen hardware, and then they'll announce the Anaconda last, which is going to be the high-end version of their new next-generation console. And then you have to end the conference, not on the consoles, but on the Mecca of Xbox, the Holy Grail exclusive to Xbox gamers. Halo running on Anaconda, possibly even being a launch title. And then after that gameplay ends, you will then either see a screen or we'll go back to Phil Spencer announcing that the next generation Xbox will launch spring of 2020. You heard it here first. Spring of 2020 is when I personally feel that the next Xbox will launch. And here's why. Microsoft with the Xbox 360 got a head start on PlayStation, and it killed that console cycle. them getting that head start was, granted, it was a year head start, but them getting that head start was impeccable to them having a strong lead for the majority of the time of that generation. Granted, Sony also hurt themselves with such a high price point at that time frame. Nonetheless, I think Microsoft wants to get the jump on Sony. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, why would Microsoft launch a console in spring? People always wait until Christmas. Well, here's the thing. You don't need to wait until Christmas. Your hardcore fan base is gonna go out and buy a console no matter when you release it. No matter when you release it, they're gonna go out and buy it. Number one, a perfect reason to release in spring is you get that head start. Sony already said they're not launching within the next 12 months. That was back in April when they said that. So Sony's definitely not gonna launch in the spring. Sony's gonna wait until the fall. You'll have a good chunk of months heads up on them. Another good reason to launch in the spring is because your manufacturers aren't going to be developing the consoles that fast. You always have a low amount of launch consoles when a console launches. So get all the kinks and all that stuff out in the manufacturing earlier in the year so you're ready to have a slew of consoles ready for that fall. So by that time, when Sony releases their console, because it's the launch console, it's brand new, manufacturers are trying to, get all those kinks out so they can start to develop the console faster and get them out to market faster. By that time, because you launched in March, you're already ready with a slew of consoles. And what do people do when they're so excited for next gen? If your console isn't on the market, they're going to go to the next best thing. And I've seen a lot of people do that. A lot of people did that with the PlayStation 3. When they couldn't find a PlayStation 3 anywhere, they just said, bump it. I'm getting a 360. Now, they may have gotten a PlayStation 3 later on down the line, but I remember a lot of people telling me that back in the day in my comment section in videos. You could go back and check them if you choose to. So I think that would be extremely smart for Microsoft to do, and I think that that's something that they want to do. Microsoft, as of late, has been doing things that are out of their nature. So I really feel that they're going to show at E3, launch in March. I really feel gone are the days of showing a product and then launching it a whole year later. Apple has showed us you don't need to do that. We have social media now. You don't need the main reason why they would show a console at E3 one year and then launch it the following year is because the internet wasn't what it is today. It took news a long time to travel. You had to wait for publications to post the content from E3 30 months later because that was the turnaround on a magazine to put something out. Or you had to wait for newspaper publications to put your news out. Those days are gone. You announce a product and you release it. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, their own websites, YouTube. These things get news around the nation within hours, not days. So that's my prediction. They show at E3 and the console launches March of 2019 or sometime in the spring. Because like I've been telling people, spring is the new Christmas. How many games do we see launching in the spring? Large AAA titles launching in the spring instead of the fall. So that's my prediction. That's what I think we're going to see from Microsoft at this year's E3 2019. Let me know what you guys think. How do you guys feel? What's your predictions? Leave them in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. As always, like and subscribe. If you guys aren't, check out the podcast. It's coming back very soon. And as always, stay great, be blessed, and stay positive. Until the next video, I'm your boy DLB. Meow.
This is the DLB Network Gaming Podcast.